What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to go through this ENGL Synergy module and this ENGL Savage 60 Mark II. And we're going to see if these two can compare. Can you get the same sounds out of the ENGL from Synergy that you can out of the Mark II? We're going to find out. All right, so just to give you guys a little bit of the setup, what I have here is the Syn 1 that is connected to the effects loop return of this ENGL Savage, okay? We're only gonna be messing with the preamps, and they're gonna be using the same power amp. So the power amp is not gonna be a variance here. So it's gonna be using the same thing. I got a line selector that's hooked up to both of these amps, or these preamps. And all I have to do, which is cool, is that whenever you see this light on here, that means we're going through the ENGL's actual preamp, okay? Now, if we're going through, if the light's off, we are using the Synergy module portion, okay? The other thing is, it's all going through same cab here. I got a SM57 and a E609. And going to have them panned left and right because I like to do it that way. A few differences. Obviously, this has 4 channels. This has 2 channels. But there is a low gain and high gain on both of the channels. I'm not even going to try the clean portion of this because I don't think that really makes sense with this module, because it's really, you know, just gained out, you know, to tell you the truth. I'm going to go through this LTD V that I have. It's a V200, and it's Ori Pure, just some Amazon pickups over here. Nothing crazy, but I've always liked the way they sounded. And let's go ahead and check this out. First off, we're going to start on channel 1 on this guy, and we're going to switch over to crunch channel, the crunch 1 on this guy. And let's make sure everything is at noon. So this is for the crunch 2 lead. The volumes are good, and the gain, leave it halfway. Let's bring all this back. All right. Let's go ahead and put this on the low gain. And this is what the ENGL sounds like. Pretty good. That's that ENGL crunch right there. All right, let's go overhead and go to this Synergy. Let's just get one thing straight. I'm going to call this the ENGL, the actual amp, and I'm going to call this the Synergy because it's running through the Syn 1 module. All right, so this is the Syn 1. Okay, one thing I noticed is it's darker, obviously, right? The other thing I noticed is that the gain is pretty high on this module. So let's go back over to the ENGL. That's more of a traditional crunch. That's a lot more traditional. It's good. Let's go back over to the Syn. It's just so dark. Let's go ahead and bring up the treble there. It's still too dark. All the way up. Go back to the ENGL. And I didn't even mess with the EQ on this one yet. Okay, let's actually bring the gain back. Let's see if we can match that. Okay, one thing I noticed is that the contour is off on this one, but the contour is on this one. Let's go ahead and turn that off and see what the angle sounds like with the contour off. Honestly, it just made it brighter. And the contour on. Yeah, that's like a low mid push there for sure. All right, let's go back over to the send. I don't think I can get that high of a frequency out of the send here. Well, what I could do is I could take the presence on the actual amp and boost that up so that frequency opens up. So let's try that. Let's go up to 3 o'clock. Now mind you, the treble is dimed out here. So, still not there. Let's go a little higher with the presence. Okay. And I don't know if there's something in between the effects loop and the preamp of the actual amp that makes it brighter. I'm going out of the amp out of the Syn 1. So, I don't know. I don't know if there's something in between that is making this that much darker. So, right now, that works for me. Let's go back over to this. Now, this is with the presence up. Obviously, that is way too high. Let's go back, bring that back to where it was. Okay, now that sounds good. Okay, back over to the Syn. That's the dark. Go push the presence back all the way up. Sorry, it's not all the way up, it's mostly up. But that sounds pretty close. But that's with the treble all the way up, you know? It almost sounds like with pedals, you know, if you, they are made darker to be put in front of an amp because it just makes it a lot brighter. But then stuff that, like preamps and stuff, are typically brighter because the effects loops are typically darker. I think that's the way it goes. I remember seeing some videos on that, and I've tested it myself too. But yeah, there's something to that for sure. All right, so let's go back. We are on the Syn. And then go back to the angle. Bring the presence down. Okay. The DNA is there. All right. Check for the channel 1 with the low gain compared to this, but you have to bring the presence up on the power amp to make it sound that close enough to it. So I would give it a go that, yeah, it has the DNA there. All right, so good job, guys. All right, now let's go over to channel 2 on the ENGL and compare that with the high gain portion of channel 1. We could go back and forth between the lead channel, and there's a high and low switch on that one too. So maybe there's a difference there. So let's give it a shot. So we're on the ENGL. Let's go over to channel crunch 2. Okay, we're on crunch 2. Make sure my level's all right. Bring that up a little bit. All right, so this is crunch 2. Let's bring this gain to noon. I had that at 3 o'clock. So now let's see what it sounds like. That sounds great. That is a very good crunch with that angle flavor to it, you know. I would definitely use that. All right, so now let's go over to the Synergy. I'm gonna flip the high gain on. See what that sounds like. Again, we're dark. It's just really dark sounding. I wonder if it's just this channel. And this is with the treble all the way up here. Let's try to bring in the mids. See if that helps. I mean, kind of. Let's go back over. Here's the angle. To tell you the truth, this sounds a little bright to me. The angles. Not to say that that's wrong. Where this angle sits is where I would expect amps should be. And the frequency range is done right on the Savage, of course. The Synergy, it just sounds dark on channel 1, you know? So this is with the contour off. Let's go ahead and turn the contour on. Turn it off. Definitely scoops it when you have that off. When you push it in, it fills out. That would be a lot of fun to play like in a punk band, to have that kind of crunch tone to it. So that to me is fun. The fact that I can turn this on and play any channel so far and just be like, have fun with it, that works for me. Let's go over to the Syn again. Okay, now let's go ahead and use the presence. Bring that up. There we go. That's more like it. But the gain structure is still a little, it's pretty high to tell you the truth. So I would probably bring it back. That's better. Let's go ahead and hit the contour on this one, see what it does. Okay, same idea. Just fills it out more. It gives it that low mid kind of thing. And the angle, bring the presence back. Synergy. Bring the presence back up. Bring it up a little more. With the presence all the way up and the treble all the way up with a little bit more mids and the contour on, it sounds pretty good. And if you're trying to get that angle sound, this has the DNA. You know, you could get an EQ in the loop if this is the setup that you wouldn't use it that way. But, you know, we're trying to compare these two. And with an EQ in the loop, it would definitely help out. Okay, let's go back over to angle again. Bring the presence down. This still definitely has this like metal clankiness about it that's, I really love that ENGL stuff has. Characteristic of ENGLs, you know? And you don't get it anywhere but here. Maybe you can see what I'm talking about. This is the ENGL. And then going back over to the syn. We need to bring up the presence. It's there, but it needs some help. Bring the presence all the way up. Let's go ahead and bring the gain up to noon. It still sounds dark. And let's bring this back and then go over to the angle again. And then let's also bring the gain up to 3 o'clock. See what that sounds like. So that's kind of like where I like to have my rhythm sound. Maybe a little more gain to it. Just enough to have that clarity of the strumming of the strings. You can hear each one of them. It just... And it still has that chunk to it. Love it. And let's go back to the syn. Bring out the presence. That's a fun tone. I mean, that sounds a lot like the actual channel 2 after bringing down the present. There's still an aggressiveness to it. Whenever you're like picking it, just like, it just makes you smile every time you hear it. And does the synergy have it? Kind of. 80% there. If you're okay with that, yeah. I mean, like, if you've never had an ENGL Savage before and you want that characteristic, getting the module, I think, would satisfy the craving of not having one. Once you have one, then you're gonna want the big boy. It's just how it goes, man. Let's try this sag knob here. Let's turn that halfway. It's supposed to make it a little more bouncy. You know what? There's one thing I want to try. Since I can't remember if there's a cathode switch on the actual modules, and I want to see if that, I'm gonna switch it to the other way because I don't know what I have it set at. So you can see it's this guy right here. So I'll switch it over here. Let's to position 3. Let's see if that brightens it up, because that could be the answer. You just saw me pull a module out and put it back in. That's what she said. All right, so that's back on. Let's see if it's any more brighter. Turn the bypass switch off. First, we're on the ENGL right now. I'm not gonna mess with the presence. Switched over. Let's see if that cathode switch made a difference to the bass response or the high frequency. I think it's better. Go back over to the ENGL. It still needs help. Okay, let's bring this up a little bit. Let's go back, bring that back down again. All the way up for the send. Well, whatever it did, I don't think it really solved our problem. So I thought I'd try. All right, so what is next?
The lead channel.
Let's go ahead and hit this. I know everyone's waiting for this one. Let's see if it sounds the same there. The one thing I want to do before we go over there, I want to go over to the second channel. Turn that back down. And I want to use the low gain on this and see if it sounds any different. Oh, whoa. That's the answer. That is the key. It is really trebly. Let's bring that back to noon. Let's just say that this is the crunch tune now, right? Okay, let's bring the presence back again. Go back over to the ENGL. Now let's go back over to the send with the presence still there. Oh, still dark. Let's bring the treble all the way up. Channel 2 is definitely brighter, but it still doesn't fix our problem with it being really dark. Again, there might be something with going through the effects loop, because you know that with the pedal thing going in the front, it's just brighter. When you go through the effects loop, it's usually darker. So maybe that really does have something to do with this. Because we can get the tones, but we just have to use that presence knob to bring it up, you know? So let's go back over to that ENGL. Yeah, it's pretty close. Let's bring that up for the send. Oh, yeah, we don't even need to bring it that high. Right there. Go back to the ENGL. Yeah. There's not much, like, it still needs help, but not as much as the first channel. And I don't know if that was designed that way or to be, maybe that's an ENGL Savage Mark I thing. I don't know. But that's what I'm hearing here. Oh, man, the ENGL, dude. Okay, so let's do the fun part and go into the lead channel of the ENGL and compare it to the channel 2 with the high gain on the Synergy. All right, so let's go over to the lead. Make sure our levels are good. Still haven't messed with the EQ. Let's take off the contour here, and let's go ahead and start this. So the gain is at noon, and we're on the angle. Damn, dude. My bad, I got lost in the moment there. How could you not with the, the freaking lead channel of an angle, man? All right, that's sick. I mean, come on. All right, let's go over to the Sin and let's see what that sounds like. All right, we got the treble all the way up because that seems to be the common thing here. Here's the Sin. Oh, I gotta turn the gain up. Okay, now it's on. I got lost in that one too. That was killer too. So let's go back over to the angle. See what that sounds like. So this one sounds like it's the mids are scooped out. Of course, that wouldn't be a problem with this thing because you could always push the mids up to 3 o'clock. That's so sick. All right, let's go back over to the Sin. I do have the contour off, right? Yeah, that is off. This sounds more like dropping into the mids here. Yeah. All right, let's compare that to the big boy. Definitely sits a little different, doesn't it? Go back to the Sin. Let's try that. There's just this like growly thing at the very top. Sin. I mean, that's pretty close though. We're on the angle right now. All right, let's go ahead and add the contour in. Here's the contour. Bring the mids back. Let's go ahead and kind of mess with the EQ on this one. I like the treble up a little bit, the mids back, and then more bass. That's typically what I do with every amp. Pretty good. And go back to the sin. Let's bring in the contour. I probably want a little more presence in that one. What's so bad about this, or badass about this, is that you don't need a overdrive. You can do without. Anyways, all right, that is the comparison. I just wanted to go through these two, see if that we could, you know, get a good comparison of them, right? Yeah. All right. So that was fun, right? Do I think that you can get away with this guy and not buy this thing and not want it after having this? Whew. Well, you know what I have to say to that? No. All right, so I think it's 80% there. 80%. It's got the same DNA, obviously, right? Same guys made it. And it might be because I'm going through the effects loop of this amp. And there might be something in between that is throwing this whole thing off with the brightness. With messing with the presence, it definitely got it there. It went from 80% to 85%, okay? There is a certain feel under the fingertips that you have that when you're playing this, it just feels awesome. Could you live with this? If you've never had an ENGL before, go ahead and get this. And there will be something left to be desired. If you've ever played an ENGL amp, you'll see what I mean. All right, that's the review. Hope you guys got something out of it. Stay tuned because I am gonna go to this ENGL Savage Mark II and compare it to the ENGL Fireball 100 on the next video. END out.